mag-aaral sa aming paaralan ay taon-taon na nagsasagawa nito upang maihanda ang lahat sa tamang gagawin kung sakaling magkaroon ng lindol o sunog. Narito po ang isinagawang earthquake at fire drill ng Sultan Ismail Elementary School.
Magandang umaga mga bata. Magandang umaga po, Sir Lito. Okay, gusto ko na lahat. Thank you. Ngayong umaga ay tatalakayin natin ang tungkol sa pag-aani at paksa sa pamilihan ng mga inani natin, prutas o gulay. Maraming uri ang mga prutas. Iba-iba ang mga uri nito. Ang batayan ng pag-aani ay ang uri ng lupa at ang kondisyon ng klima ng lugar na iyon. Upang makatiyak tayo ng mga gulay o prutas ay makarating sa pamilya na hindi sobra sa hinog, ay kailangan natin sa kapalan.
Para po nakahanda kami sa mga sakuna. Mahalaga pa earthquake drill kung sakaling nagkalindol, alam namin ang gagawin.
Mahalaga po ang ating earthquake drill para hindi magpanig ang ating mga kamag-aral.
Mahalaga po ang earthquake drill kung baka sakaling magkalindol, alam po namin ang mga gagawin mga estudyante.
Mahalaga po ang earthquake drill dahil po para po pagka po magkaroon ng lindol ay alam po namin ang aming gagawin.
Ang kalagan po ng earthquake drill ay upang tayo maging handa kung sakaling mangyari ang sakulang ito, hindi lamang dito sa paralan, kundi kung sakaling saan po tayo naroroon.
Ang earthquake drill ay makakatulong kung sakaling magkalindol, alam namin kung anong gagawin.
Ang kahalagahan po ng earthquake drill ay para maiwas po ang mga bata sa sakuna at kung sakaling dumating po man ang sakuna, handa po sila.
Ang kalagahan po ng earthquake drill, kung sakaling dumating ang lindol, alam po namin ang gagawin namin upang hindi kami mabutan ng sakuna.
Nagkandak po kami ng isang fire drill sa eskwelahan na to para malaman ng mga kabataang ito ang kahalagahan ng fire drill. Sapagkat alam naman natin, ang lindol ay walang nakakaalam na matatama ng isang lugar kahit gaano man ka-advance ang mga teknolohiya ngayon. Kaya aming ginagawa ito upang malaman ng mga bata at mas lalo nilang maintindihan na ito ay pwedeng mangyari sa kahit anong oras o kahit sa anong lugar. Sa pamamaraan nito, malalaman nila ang tamang paggalaw, pag-iwas sa mga bagay na pwedeng matumba na kagaya ng mga bato at puno. Kaya ang kalagan nito ay napaka-importante para sa kanila para sila ay mailigtas sa kapamakan na magiging dulot ng lindol at sunog.
Mahalaga ang pagkakaroon ng earthquake drill at saka fire drill para maging handa lalong-lalo ng mga guro at ang mga mag-aaral upang maiwasan ang malubhang maging sakuna kung sakaling darating ang lindol o kaya magkaroon ng sunog lalo na dito sa paralan.
Okay, ang pagsasagawa ng mga earthquake drill sa paaralan ay isang mahalagang gawain. Bukod sa panalangin, mahalaga rin na tayo ay merong plano, tayo aware, tayo ay nakakapagsiguro upang maging handa at nang maiwasan ang mga pinsala o sakuna na maaaring mangyari sa pagdating ng tunay na kalamidad tulad ng earthquake o lindol. Nagpapasalamat kami nagkakaroon ang mga paaralan ng ganitong pagsasanay upang ang mga kabataan natin ay mulat kung anong kanilang dapat gawin sa panahon ng sakuna.
Napakahalaga po ang earthquake drill para sa kahandaan ng mga bata sa anumang darating na sakuna. Upang di maiwasan ang pagpapanik sa oras ng halimbawa magkaroon ng lindol o kaya magkaroon ng sunog.
Importante sa lahat ng pagsasagawa ng fire drill, no? Una, binibigyan kahandaan hindi lang ang mga teacher, kundi lahat ng mga batang kung sakaling merong sakunang darating, dapat ay ang readiness at awareness para sa kanila. So dito maiwasan ang maraming sakuna at pagsira ng mga ari-aralan, malalo na ang buhay ng mga estudyante rito sa eskwela na to.
The earthquake drill is very important, especially to students, to be prepared, to be alert, and for us teachers, it's very important yung role natin para sa mga estudyante na matutunan nilang maging prepared pagdating ng earthquake. And not only that, unang-unang gagawin mo is to pray during earthquake, not only to save yourself, but also lahat ng mga bata.
Mahalaga ang pagsasanay na binibigay sa atin upang mapaghandaan ang mga sakunang darating tulad ng lindol at ng sunog. Sa ganoong paraan, may iwasan natin ang aberya gaya ng pagtutulakan at stampede at maiwasan din ang magkasakitan ng bawat isa.
Ang kahalagahan ng pagsasanay na ito ay upang maging handa at may alam ang mga bata sakaling mang dumating ang lindol.
Bilang Pangulo ng Samahan ng mga Guro at bilang co-chairman ng School Disaster Risk Reduction Management, inaasahan ko na ang mga natutunan ng mga bata sa isinagawa naming fire drill at earthquake drill ay magamit nila hindi lamang sa paaralan, kundi sa kanilang mga tahanan o saan man lugar sila abutan ng mga ganitong sakuna.
Pinatutupad ng CDRMC o CD Risk and Reduction Management Office ang fire drill taon-taon para malaman ng mga kabataan kung ano man gagawin nila sa nasabing sakuna.
Okay. Ano next nun? Ayaw nila, ma'am. Ayaw nila mag-order. Ayaw nila ng biryani. Oo. Hindi ko na contact. Wait lang. Joshua, sino na present?
Yes po. So good morning po ma'am. We would start with our report in disaster nursing lecture, RLE. So this report po is about video we presented earlier. Now this report is the conjoined report of Group A and Group B. So next slide po.
So for the table of contents po, here we have the introduction, we have the key roles, the different lapses that could be seen on the video, and of course, after seeing the lapses, we have the action plan. Next slide po. So first, to introduce the topic, and before we would be able to know the different lapses and the action plan that was made. The Philippines is a country situated in Southeast Asia, and it has long been confronted with the harsh realities of natural disasters due to its unique geographical location. And as we all know, it is positioned along the Pacific Ring of Fire po, and it is nestled within the typhoon belt, wherein this is the reason kung bakit lagi tayong merong constant threat from a variety of natural calamities. And over the years, this vulnerability has resulted in a multitude of challenges, which spans from droughts and volcanic eruptions to floods, typhoons, and landslides. And hindi pa po kasama dito yung iba pa pong man-made na disasters. So throughout the history po ng Philippines, it has endured different and numerous devastating consequences of the various disasters. So there are records po na nag-indicate ng iba't ibang instances ng iba't ibang regions, cities, or communities that was ravaged by floods, landslides, and other weather-related na phenomena, and also some man-made disasters. And additionally, yung isa po sa example dito is yung volcanic eruptions such as the infamous Mount Pinatubo eruption in 1991. It has left a lasting scar in the landscape and the populace, which highlights the profound impact ng mga geological events na yon. So despite facing recurrent disasters, the Philippines continues to grapple with significant gaps talaga in disaster management and preparedness. So yung mga shortcomings na yon, it could be manifested across different communities, regions, and cities, especially far-flung areas. Kasi merong disparities po sa capabilities and resources na nag-exacerbate ng mga challenges which were posed by the different disasters that continues to ravage us. Moreover, there remains a notable lack ng comprehensive understanding regarding the country's readiness to address not only the natural disasters but also those of a man-made nature.
So yung iba-iba pong factors na nagko-contribute sa persistent vulnerability natin sa disaster is yung, of course, is a genuine limited resources, yung inadequate infrastructure, whether yung socioeconomic disparities na naghihinder ng implementation, and of course the effective mitigation of strategies and emergency response measures. Furthermore, there are issues of urbanization, environmental degradation, and the population growth which further complicate the efforts na ma-enhance po yung resilience and preparedness ng um, mga tao dito sa country natin. Next slide po.
Following sa explanation ni Ms. Adams, following the DepEd Memorandum of Number 48 Series of 2012, pursuant by the Secretary of Education of Mr. Armin A. Luistro, na the school should include, whether it's public or private, to direct the undertaking of simultaneous emergency drills to increase the public's awareness on the disaster risk reduction and climate. This is to help the students as well as teachers, faculties, and bureau service or regional directors, supervision and city superintendents, as well as the public elementaries and secondary heads. This is to inform them that emergencies and calamities may strike anywhere at any time. Thus, having the preparedness of doing the yearly activities of drills. Examples are the Sultan Ismail Elementary School located in Dasmariñas. Sila yung mga included sila sa mga schools na nagko-conduct ng yearly activities of school-based earthquake and fire drills. As nakita natin dun sa videos, they are more likely to have a proper conduct of whether magka-strike sila ng earthquake, they know what to do. This includes the memorandum of number 53 series of 2022, the mandatory unannounced earthquakes and fire drills in school. This is to ensure that they promote the preparedness of learners and their families, if ever, sa bahay nila, as a guide for preparation before, during, and after the occurrence of earthquakes or fires happening. So, yun po na. Slide po.
So for the next po is yung sa key roles po ng emergency personnel na involved po in terms of. So we have here the key roles of emergency response personnel or medical personnel, which teach teachers, staffs, and students about what to do during emergencies, like how to leave the building safely and line up properly. So that way, we can ensure everyone in the school or in the community is well informed and is capable of responding effectively during emergencies. And also, this providing education helps create a sense of preparedness and reduces panic and also potentially saving lives of the people. And the next is to explain to the students the importance of safety measures during evacuation, such as the use of head protection. Wait, uh, it increases compliance within the students, and it provides information about the potential risks and how safety measures mitigate those risks, and it encourages the individuals to adhere into protocols, and it enhances the overall safety. And next is to advocate for creating rules and plans and providing feedbacks and observations, because having well-defined rules and plans establishes a structured response to emergencies, and regular feedbacks ensures that protocol remains effective and up to date, and adapting to changes in the environment, technology, or for the best practices. Ito. Ayaw pa rin mag-next. Emergency. The next slide is for the heroes of medical personnel is that they work together with the school leaders and local authorities to create and put into action plans for how to handle emergencies like earthquakes, and including practicing drills. And, collaboration ensures a unified and coordinated response to emergencies, and by involving local authorities, And emergency response personnel can tap into external expertise and also the resources where it puts ba to, strengthenings of the overall emergency management strategy. And ensure that the medical team and equipment are present during evacuation drills, since having medical support during drills helps identify potential health risks and ensures that the individuals with specific medical needs are accounted for. And this proactive approach improves the overall effectiveness and emergency response plans. And lastly, the conduct an assessment after the evacuation drill for building safety, since post-assessment drills helps identify weaknesses or areas of improvement in emergency situations or in emergency procedures. This information can be used to refine protocols and update training programs and enhance overall preparedness for future emergencies.
For the second personnel who plays a vital part in evacuation drills, we have the school administration, teachers, and staffs, in which one of their roles is first to ensure safety of infrastructure. So the school administration are tasked to oversee the maintenance and safety of the school infrastructure, in which they are tasked to ensure that the stairs are clear and in good condition, as well as the gates are wide enough for efficient evacuation. They are also tasked to conduct regular inspection and address any safety concerns for to ensure the effectivity of emergency evacuation. Next is for the teachers and staff. They are responsible for maintaining a safe environment within their classroom and areas of responsibility, in which they are tasked to ensure that the exits are clear and accessible, and report any safety hazards. So next role is for the development of policies, in which the school administration are tasked to develop policies that will help govern the classroom arrangement and proper procedure of door opening during evacuation, in which this is one of the lapses that we have that will be discussed later. And they are also tasked to communicate these policies to the teachers and staff, that will ensure that they understood, and these policies will be followed during drills and actual emergency. Next, for the teachers and staff, uh, they should implement the policies that was developed by the school administration and ensure that the student will also understand and follow these procedures. Next po. Next role is they will inculcate to the students the importance of emergency drills. So the school administration task is to incorporate the student the importance of these drills, and as well as to do the safety measures by organizing training sessions for students, teachers, and staff, and as well as to emphasize the importance of some of these safety measures, such as lining up properly and utilization of head protection during drills or emergency for safety precautions. Then teachers and staffs uh, are tasked to actively participate in this training session, as well as to reinforce the importance of drills and safety. And then last rule is for the monitoring, or they are tasked to the school administration are tasked to establish a protocol necessary for ensuring the effective evacuation, such as conducting proper head counts and double checking of classrooms to ensure that no students are left behind, in which the teachers and staff are responsible for doing this task, in which they are tasked to supervise the students safely to safely evacuate to the responding to the area, to the evacuation area. Next po especially is yung mga students po. They are tasked to ensure the safety of themselves by following or by clearly understanding the drills and keeping in mind the procedures and policies that should be done by following these safety procedures and as well as develop a sense of knowledge on what to do during the potential hazards. Next po.
These are the lapses naman po that we saw from the video. So our first lapses po is there's only one staircase from the second floor to the ground floor of the building. So as you can see po kanina, there is only one one staircase po which causes the students to crowd that specific stairs po. Another factor din po dyan, nagkakaroon po tayo ng narrow way po ng hallway. So since one lang po yung staircase po natin, nagkaroon po tayo ng difficulty in going down which may cause further risk for our students. So next po is yung student chair arrangement is dense and difficult to walk out of their seats and place. So as we can see on the picture po, uh, the the, uh, the students are very crowded in one classroom. So this causes them to stampede or might cause stampede since they are too prone for crowding. So next slide po. So the next slide is the door should be a swing out door. In real life scenarios, there would be doors that is closed. So as we can see, yung door po natin is somewhat makaluma na po which might causes difficulty in going out po. Since some of the doors from our schools is closed, so meron po tayong difficulty in opening that while confused po tayo and nagpapanik sa certain disaster po such as earthquake. So next po is the hallway is narrow which causes the students to wait for the groups in front to advance. So as I told earlier po, yung mga students po natin is nagka-crowd po sila dun sa hallway since the staircase is very small to go down to the ground floor. So next po.
So, puwede po back ng slide. So, if I may add, the door should be swing outdoor in real life scenarios. There would be doors that are closed. So, according to DRRMC, there are safe zones and good practices when it comes to uh, um, drills. So doors should be actually swinging out instead of swinging in. So if you're inside an establishment, the door should be pushed outside for you to get out instead of it being pulled inside. So door should be so instead of it being pulled, it should be pushed outside po. Next slide po.
Next lapses naman po natin for number 5 is the students should line up farther from the gate since it causes crowding at the exit. Since nakita nga po natin nung lumabas po sila
Guys,
and pumila.
wait lang. Guys, wait lang. Wala kayong slide? Blanco?
Meron po.
Ma'am, visible po.
Baka ako mahina ang net kasi naka-blank lang ang ano nyo, ang slide. Sige, continue na lang. Check ko na lang. Sige, continue.
Okay po. So as yung sinabi ko nga po, the student should line up farther from the gate since yung gate po is yung nagsisilbi po nating yung way po ng mga students para po makalabas as well as makapasok. So dapat po hindi po talaga nagpapapila ng mga students dun sa may labasan po natin which is sa harap po ng gate para din po hindi po mag-cause po ng mga stampedes and such po. Then connected din po dito yung number 6, the gate from the building is narrow which may cause stampedes. Although big gate naman po siya na pwede pong gawin, hindi po nila yun binuksan ng buo, and ang binuksan lang po nila is yung maliit lang po na passageway na pang-tao lang po talaga. Pero po, in times of disaster po dapat po talaga, very open po yung big gates po natin para nga po hindi po maging crowded, mag-stampede at wala din pong madaganan. At para din po dire-diretso lang po yung daloy po ng paglabas ng mga students. Next slide po. So for number 7, the students are not lined properly. Based nga po dun po sa picture, ito naman po ang dapat po talaga ginagawa is per section, at least 2 lines po, boys and girls or such. Basta po dapat at give at least 2 lines and such po per section. Hindi po yung parang nakapalibot lang po sila, kasi kapag po nakapalibot po ng pabilog po lahat sama-sama na po, it may cause conflict po, kasi 'di ba nga po dapat po naghe-head counts tayo per section sa mga school po para po malaman kung kumpleto po ba yung mga students po kumpleto ang students per section. Then for number 8, some students are not properly holding or covering their nape while walking towards the exit. This may also reflect na possible po na hindi din pa alam or hindi pa makuha ng mga students kung ano ba talaga yung, let's say, kahalagahan ng pagdi-drill, since hindi nga po nila ito na-execute properly or naiisip nila na drill lang 'to at hindi pa naman siya nangyayari. Next slide.
So number 9 naman po, there is no process of double checking for any students who may have been inadvertently left behind in the classrooms. So in earthquake drills, it's crucial to make sure all students get out safely. So itong identified lapse, meaning niya na walang system in the place to check if anyone is accidentally left behind in classrooms during nung practice evacuation. So pwede siyang maging malaking problema since kapag nangyari yung mga actual na earthquake na, pwedeng may mga students na mas stuck inside sa mga classrooms or building na walang nakakaalam or nakakapansin. So, yung pag-a-add po nung double checking process ay makaka-help para mas ma-ensure natin na lahat ng mga students or even ng mga staffs and teachers po ay makaalis dun sa building ng matiwasay at ng safe. So, importante to na maayos since magiging gabay din siya para magkaroon ng maging safe yung lahat during ng mga real life emergencies. So number 10 naman, some of the students seem to be not taking the drill seriously as they are shown laughing while doing the drill. So, yung pagtitik ng earthquake drill seriously ay importante because they will help us practice what to do if a real earthquake happens. So, kapag yung mga students naglalaro lang, walang pakialam dun sa drill, or hindi sila nagpe-pay attention dun sa earthquake drills, pwedeng hindi sila matuto kung paano yung dapat na gawin during the actual situation na. So, yung real earthquake kasi, kapag nangyari yan, with the help of the drill, ito yung makakatulong sa atin kung paano natin maliligtas yung sarili natin and paano rin natin paano rin tayo makakatulong dun sa iba para maligtas din sila. So it's important for everyone na mag-focus and mag-participate lalo na during these drills para maging prepared for the emergencies. Next slide po. Number 11 naman, so yung number 11, the open space where the students temporarily evacuate remains surrounded by buildings that still pose a risk of injury from falling debris. So, they lack a buffer zone away from the building. So, nakita kanina dito sa video and dito sa picture na to na although nasa open space sila, mas malapit pa rin sila dun sa building, and once na magkaroon ng mga like parang may bumagsak na mga pader diyan, gumuho, apektado pa rin yung mga students na malapit dun sa building na yon. So, 'pag nagpa-practice tayo ng earthquake drills, it's crucial to have safe open areas where the students gather. Um, importante 'to para ma-ensure na merong enough space yung mga tao away from the buildings para maging safe sila during the drills na rin and pati na rin dun sa real life emergency. So, this way po yung mga tao meron silang better chance na, maging safe. Number 12, the schedule for drills may not be well established and students may not take them seriously if they are infrequent. So, having a regular schedule for earthquake drills is important and yung regular drills kasi, meaning nun, napapractice yung mga bata or lahat ng tao na wherein magiging sanay sila kung ano yung mga dapat gawin during the real life scenarios na ng mga actual earthquake na. So if yung drills hindi siya regularly ginagawa, yung mga students pwede siyang hindi i-take yun ng seryoso and pwede ring hindi sila matuto or magkaroon ng mas malalim pa na knowledge kung paano maging ligtas during the real life scenarios. Next slide po.
So for number 13, students didn't utilize items like books or any sturdy covers that could provide additional protection for their heads apart from using their hands to shield themselves. So kagaya nga po ng nasa video kanina, nagtakip lang po sila ng kamay nila sa ulo, pero meron naman tayong mga materials, yun nga lalo kagaya ng mga libro na pwede naman pong gamitin para din po magkaroon tayo ng sturdy covers para sa ating mga ulo. For number 14, the faculty in the video did not check the durability of the buildings before sending back the students inside. So dito po, dapat this is just a drill po. Kailangan kung anong gagawin sa tunay na situation, gano'n na din yung ginagawa nila sa mga drill. So dapat po chinek nila yung mga walls kung may mga cracks or whatsoever po. Next slide please.
For number 15, post-earthquake drill assessment of any casualties were not shown and no medical teams nor equipment were present. So dito po, they did not show yung pag-assess po, for example, sa mga buildings na nasira, pag dumating po yung times ng real life scenarios, hindi rin po napakita yung pag-assess kung may mga nasaktan po ba sa sa scenario po or sa pangyayari. And then they did not show din po also equipment. Siguro po dahil public school hindi po available sa kanila to, and there were no medical teams present po na um pwede po mag-rescue or mag-first aid po sakaling mangyari po yung sakuna. Next slide po.
For the succeeding slides naman po, we will be presenting the different action plans that we made based on the lapses or gaps that we have observed in the video. So, doon po sa mga lapses, ang una po namin nakita nga or na-observe is yung there is only one staircase from the second floor to the ground floor of the building. And as for our action response or plan po, we came up po na to establish and implement alternative evacuation procedures. So, despite po having only one staircase, there may still be alternative routes available for evacuation. Pwede dito yung mga emergency exits, windows that can be used as exits with the proper safety measures or access to neighboring buildings with additional exit points. in which yung responsible person is the school safety officer or the emergency preparedness coordinator. As for the resources naman po, magkakaroon po ng emergency evacuation plan documentation. So, by creating a detailed plan outlining alternative evacuation routes and procedures, crucial po siya to document these procedures clearly so that everyone knows po what to do in the event of an emergency. Next is yung training materials and sessions. So we will provide training materials and sessions for staff and students to ensure na maiintindihan nila yung alternative evacuation routes and procedures and para ma-familiarize sila sa plano and ensures they can respond appropriately during an emergency. Next is communication tools. So communication tools such as megaphones, intercom systems, or emergency alarms po are necessary to alert them about the need to evacuate and provide instructions on the alternative routes. Next is signage. So clear signage indicating alternative evacuation routes and assembly points should be prominently displayed throughout the building para matulungan sila na mas malocate kagad yung mga alternative nga na routes and ensures na they know where to go in case of an emergency. As for the potential challenges naman, first is yung resistance or skepticism. So some staff and student may be resistant or skeptical about unfamiliar alternative evacuation procedures. So pwede to ma-resolve ba by addressing their concerns through education and training since crucial yung operation and compliance during emergencies. Next po is coordination challenges. So implementing alternative routes effectively during drills or emergency may present coordination challenges. Therefore po, regular drills and exercises ay makakatulong sa pag-address nito by allowing staff and students to practice the alternative evacuation procedures and identify any issues that need to be addressed. Next is accessibility and safety. So ensuring the alternative routes are accessible and safe for all occupants, including those with disabilities, is essential. So napag-isipan po namin or na need installan ng ramps or handrails or any other accommodations to ensure everyone can evacuate safely. And as for the results naman po, it enhanced preparedness. So by providing alternative evacuation options, it enhances preparedness for emergency, particularly sa scenarios where staircases are blocked or other hazards are present. Next, it increased efficiency. So implementing alternative evacuation procedures can increase efficiency in evacuating occupants during drills and real emergencies. So having multiple routes for reduces the risk of congestion and delays, ensuring a swift and orderly evacuation process. Lastly po, it improves safety awareness. So overall, implementing alternative evacuation procedures fosters yung culture ng safety awareness among staff and students, and it encourages proactive response to emergencies and ensures that everyone is prepared to take action to protect themselves and others. Next slide po.
So this action plan po, yung second action plan namin addresses the problem when it comes dun sa crowding po ng chairs dun sa classroom. So since sa Philippine settings po, sa mga elementary schools particularly, crowded po talaga sa mga classroom due to the lack or yung kakulangan ng number ng buildings and establishment na available for the amount of students. So our action step would be to create and implement an emergency plan for a crowded room during disasters. So this should go into two steps. First would be the preparation and education of the personnel, and the creation of a plan where the evacuation order, where chairs are put sideways near the walls and bags are left behind, while all individuals vacate the room in a single file in the center aisle. So, yung ano po na ito, should enable po yung mga students to move quickly out of the room kahit po nandun yung chairs nila. Ang tendency po kasi pag wala tayong plan kung paano mag-exit properly sa isang classroom na puno ng gamit, magiging obstructed po yung mga exits natin. So for the responsible person po would be the school safety officer, faculty members, and the students. So sa faculty po, ang tuturuan if ever is yung mga advisors kasi sila po yung kasama noong mga estudyante most of the time sa loob ng classroom. Then for the necessary resources should be the emergency plan itself, kung paano po ba gagawin yung plano step by step, poster and signages depicting the plan as a reminder po sa mga students. So if ever ilalagay siya dun sa harap nung mga exit para mas madaling makita nung mga bata po. Then for the potential challenges, first is the conflict with pre-existing emergency protocols in the establishment kasi meron na po tayong mga nag-exist na plano kung paano po ba ginagawa yung evacuation during earthquake and fire. So kapag gumawa tayo ng bagong plan, magkakaroon kasi ng mga conflicts doon. So if ever, kailangan pa talaga siyang pag-aralan para ma-ensure na magiging seamless yung transition. Then after that, separate training for faculty and students requires additional drills and resources. So kapag pa-practicein to para matandaan po ng mga bata, kailangan talagang mag-allocate ng oras within the classroom at saka yung mga gamit na kakailanganin nila for the plan itself. Then a new plan is the result would be that a new plan is developed catering the classroom setting where space is obstructed by chairs. So ito nga po yung plano na yon. Then personnel will be trained to perform, particularly po yung mga advisors ng classroom and select students na pwedeng mag-lead sa fellow classmates nila. Then other result would be the necessary signages and resources will be provided and the necessary drill will be practiced annually, providing seamless evacuation from individual classroom settings hanggang dun sa evacuation na nagagawa na po sa school grounds.
So for the swinging indoors, we need to reconstruct door steps to swing outside of the room instead of it swinging in. We could also provide an alternative to add a butterfly spring on doors to keep it open during emergency. So the person responsible for this is the school safety officer and the emergency preparedness coordinator, which they should be able to coordinate with workers to reconstruct the door. The purpose of this is to um, whenever there's a disaster, even though we have drills, we should always anticipate panic or disorganization because during calamity, there will always be people who panics, and during panics, there could be instances there that they will push each other sa door. So the tendency is yung person na nagtatry mag-open ng door, hindi niya kayang i-pull yun para makalabas o para mabuksan yung pinto. And not all the time naka-open yung door. So this could be uh, this could be another problem kapag nangyari yon. So instead, if there's a panic, mas maganda if yung doors natin ay nagpo-push outside. So even if crowded yung nasa pinto, kayang makalabas ng tao sa loob. So, ang necessary resources natin ay bolts, hinges, nails, and yung taong magre-reconstruct ng doors or yung mag-a-add ng butterfly springs sa doors para naka-open lang yung pinto natin during emergencies. And potential challenges is of course the limited budget for reconstruction. So we need to consider that. Ang result po if we take this action step is when opening an outward swing door, it opens towards outside, creating a clear path for individuals to exit without obstruction. So this would provide us a smooth um, exit. Uh, this would provide us a smooth exit po during emergencies. That's it. Next slide po.
So for the fourth lapses, the hallway is narrow, which causes the students to wait for the front group to advance. So for our action step, we implement a group rotation system. So with this, ma-organize at mamamanage po natin yung movement ng bawat students in a way na mami-minimize natin yung pagkakaroon ng masikip na hallway dahil nga po narrow yung hallway. Pwede po silang magitgitan at maghihintayan pa sila ng turn nila para makadaan. Here, we've come up with the implementation of a group rotation system. So, pwede tayong mag-come up with a solution like establishing a rotation schedule kung saan may designated time slot sila. Like, para sa ganitong grade level, ganito yung oras ng break nila. Para naman sa ganitong iba din yung oras ng break nila para hindi po magkasalubong at magitgitan since ayaw din naman natin na mag-cause pa po ito ng harm sa kanila. In addition to that, pwede tayong mag-come up with a designate ng waiting areas outside ng narrow hallway where the students can gather before it's their turn to move. So here po kasi, nakakatulong siya na ma-prevent yung congestion within the hallway. And the responsible person here are the school safety officer or the drill coordinator as they have to ensure the safety of the infrastructure which is necessary nga din for the emergency evacuation. And for our necessary resources, so we have the training materials and session for staff and students regarding the group rotation protocol. So here, dito po kasi before we implement things, kinakailangan muna natin na i-train or i-inform sila about this. Hindi lang po para maging aware sila, pero para ma-apply nila yon sa sarili nila since para din naman po ito sa safety nila. And kagaya din po sa iba, nagkakaroon sila ng drills before po ng implementation ng protocol itself. Then next is the effective communication tools such as megaphones, intercom systems, or visual signals. So dahil nga po na train at na-inform na po natin yung staff and student, we can still come up with the effective communication kung saan pag may naglalabasan na po na students, we use the megaphone or the intercom to remind them na wag magitgitan at patuloy po na sundin yung ating group rotation system na na-implement para maiwasan din yung occurrence na may ma-harm po sa kanila. Then next is the signage displaying designated waiting areas and guidelines for group rotation. So aside from reminding them with the means of knowledge through training materials and effective communication tools, we then provide signages within the designated areas kung saan may nakalagay po na guidelines with regards sa group rotation system that will also serve as their guide. Then next is assign staff members to oversee and manage the rotation process. Kahit nga po mayroon na tayong mga means like communication tools and signages, kailangan pa din po natin ng staff members para po makita nila at ma-manage po nila yung rotation process ng mga student. And if meron nga po silang nakitang na problem, pwede po sila yung mag-voice out about the problem that they've seen within the hallway para makapag-provide din po ng agarang solution at malis po yung ganong situation. For the potential challenges, resistance from individuals unaccustomed to the group rotation method. This may occur especially nga po if the individual po ay hindi familiar or comfortable with the idea of organizing movement in a structured or even nga po in a rotational manner. And as we all know, since hindi naman porket nagkaroon na ng implementation about the said labs is lahat ay susunod na agad. Meron pa din po kasi iba dyan na pwedeng mag-resist as some are not up for changes. Then next is coordination difficulties in conveying and executing rotation instructions. So dito po, if meron po kasing difficulties in terms of coordination, papasok po dito yung pagiging unclear po ng mga students kung kailan yung turn nila na mag-move at yung tempo nila para mag-wait sila. And with this, pwede po siyang mag-lead ng confusion and mag-cause ng delay, especially if they aren't able to understand the instruction. The next is ensuring compliance with rotation schedules and guidelines among all participants. Dito naman po, we can still see it as a potential challenge as we aren't sure if everyone po ba ay willing na makipag-comply with the guidelines given to them. Dito din po papasok kasi yung mga iba na pasaway po at basta-basta na lang manggigit-git kahit alam naman nila na narrow nga po yung hallway. And for the result, reduce congestion and waiting times in the narrow hallway, facilitating smoother movement of students and minimizing delays. If everyone are able to listen and adhere to all the guidelines that was provided to them, whether staff ka or student ka, then yung occurrence po kasi na mag-reduce yung congestion as well as maging smooth yung movement ng students kung saan minimize na nga po yung delay is very possible to occur. So, we all just have to follow the rules as it is not just for ourselves or it is not just for someone else but also for the also for our sake. Next po.
So for the flip-flop says is the students should line up farther from the gate since it causes crowding at the exit. So yung mga tao po, they tend to panic. So nag-uunahan po sila sa exit kaya nagko-cause po siya ng crowding sa exit during the evacuation. So the action step is ma-reduce po yung crowd sa exit during the evacuation. So yung mga responsible person po dito is the safety officer, facility management, emergency response team leader. So sila po yung i-instruct sa mga tao kung paano mag-exit ng ayos and maiwasan po yung pag-uunahan para makalabas ng ayos at mabilis sa exit. So the necessary resources are the signage, communication materials, paint cones, training materials. So these tools can help yung mga people para malaman nila kung saan talaga yung tamang daan at maiwasan nila yung mga daan na hindi naman dapat daanan kung saan pwede silang um, mabagsakan ng mga debris, ganun. So, makaka-help to para malaman nila kung saan yung route sa safe place. For the potential challenges naman, limited space and it can affect yung markings. So, yung place nga is too narrow yung daan. So, and madami yung mga tao. So, yung space are very limited. And pwedeng maapektuhan yung markings kasi pwedeng matamaan or masangge ng mga tao yung markings kung saan dapat sila pumunta. So, as a result, pwede mag-identify ng efficient evacuation routes and designated areas farther from the gate. So, hindi sila magiging crowded dun sa exit. And clearly marked areas indicating where the students should be lined up to minimize the crowd.
So for the next action step is to designate a team responsible for managing the narrow gate during the earthquake drill. Kasi yun nga po, masikip yung gate. So it is important po na may mag-manage din po doon. Kasi in times po of like times like this, kung may disaster na mangyari, pwede magkaroon ng panic and also confusion. So the responsible persons for this are the housekeeper, facilitators, and the teachers. And the necessary resources is communication tools such as megaphones and walkie-talkies to provide a clear communication and instructions dun sa mga mag-handle doon sa may gate na pag-e-exitan ng mga evacuees. Then, signages or markings indicating that they are part of the management evacuating team, and signaling devices such as whistle to alert evacuees and coordinate their movement. So, the potential challenges for this are the unclear communication and panic and confusion during the drill. So, as a result, designating responsible team members for closed narrow gates can prevent stampedes by managing the passageway of the students in case of earthquake. This will also set a clear communication channel since each member of the school has the specific responsibilities if an incident occurs.
So next po is for the students that are not lined properly, this might cause confusion on the head count of the students. So our action step is to implement a clear guidelines on how the students should line up, including designated areas, spacing, and order. So yung mga responsible person po dito ay yung mga teachers and staffs. So sa pamamagitan ng mga markings or signages na nagpapakita ng guidelines sa maayos na pagpila, the teachers and staffs will guide the students na pumila ng maayos para makapunta sila sa mga designated areas nila with proper spacing and order. So the potential pleasure. Potential challenges here are the limited space within the school premises and lining up procedures. Takes a lot of time lalo na doon sa mga students na hindi makasunod agad. Saka nakita naman natin doon kanina sa video kung paano yung ibang student ay hindi sumusunod doon sa pila tapos yung iba lumalaktaw pa. So as a result, by providing clear guidelines, this will ensure that all students will line up properly regardless of the teacher or location, and promotes consistency and reduce confusion.
For the next action step naman po is to distribute educational posters that illustrates the correct way to cover the nape while walking for protection. So, may kita po natin dun sa video na hindi na nga po sila gumamit ng sturdy materials like books or file cases po nila during the drill. May kita din po natin na hindi po proper yung paghawak nila sa kanilang head and dapat po medyo nasa nape area po nakahawak. So, the responsible person po dito is the teachers, administrators, and staffs. And the necessary resources are educational materials such as posters, illustrations, instructional videos, and handouts. Dito po, mas magiging familiar sila or mas visualize po ng mga students kung paano po ba talaga yung tamang conduct po ng drill. So the potential challenges po that may occur is lack of awareness of the importance of holding or covering the nape for safety reasons and physical discomfort in holding the nape while walking. So sa results po, properly holding or covering the nape can prevent injuries such as yung spinal injury po in situations where there is a risk of falling objects that could possibly impact the back of the neck. Next slide po.
So here for the action step, implement head count and double checking of number of students. So for the responsible person includes the teacher, staff, school safety officer. So here, help natin yung mga teachers na ma-ensure na complete yung mga students na dun sa class nila and malalaman nila if meron bang naiwan or meron bang naiba ng area na pinuntahan. So, for the necessary resources, communication tools such as megaphone para mas marinig ng mga students yung pagtawag sa kanila nung kanilang teachers and yung safety officer na kasama nila din. Need din nila ng complete list of attendance or and number of attendance or attendees no day na yon. So for the potential challenges dito papasok na merong mix up ng students from different sections since meron ng panic dun sa na nararamdaman nila. So merong minsang mix up of students na nangyayari. So another one is students not going to designated area. So yun nga hindi sila napunta dun sa designated areas na sinabi sa kanila and hindi sila nasunod dun sa class. So, for the results, designate teachers to their advisory classes. So, dito napapasok yung mga teachers na inaayos na nila yung bilang ng students nila. So, dito napapasok na i-ensure nila and i-check nila yung mga attendance and yung head count nung class nila to ensure and to avoid na magkaroon ng injury yung students and make sure na walang naiwan na students coming from different classes po.
Some of the students seem to be not taking the drill seriously as they are shown laughing while doing the drill. Yung action step po dito is enhancing student engagement in evacuation drills. Kailangan po malaman ng mga students na kaya pinapractice to para maging prepared at para maging safe ang lahat kapag nangyari yung disaster. Ang mga responsible person dito is yung mga student, teachers, emergency response team leader. Yung mga resources na pwedeng gamitin, yung mga visual aids, posters, brochures, simulation equipments, real-life scenarios. Yung mga simulation equipments, ngayon merong mga ginagamit na mga latest VR simulations na can stimulate yung mga tremors na nararamdaman during an earthquake. Gamit yung mga advanced technology ngayon can create and experience yung mga real-world shaking. And then yung mga challenges dito is ensuring peer educators take their role seriously, balancing realism without causing undue panic. Yung ibang mga students, hindi nila sinuseryoso yung mga drills, yung iba is nagtutulakan, nagtatawanan, at yung iba naman habang pinapractice yung mga drills or kapag nangyari talaga yung disaster, yung iba is nagpa-panic attack. So, kailangan natin explain sa kanila na yung normal lang na matakot or magkaroon ng anxiety, that learning how to avoid yung injury will increase their chances of survival. And then result is improve understanding and adherence to safety protocols among students, increase engagement through realistic and meaningful scenarios. Kailangan yung mga teacher, i-remind nila yung class nila in advance kung bakit, yung reason bakit ginagawa yung drills. Bigyan sila ng chance para sabihin kung ano yung mga fears nila or if meron silang mga questions.
For the next action step po is to implement a safe evacuation space. Pwede po silang mag-create ng area that is clearly identified po and marked as a buffer zone po away from the risky buildings na pwede pong pumunta during emergencies like earthquakes. Then, the responsible persons po include po yung the teacher, staff, school, safety officer, or and emergency response team po. These individuals po para responsible po para ma-ensure nga po yung safe evacuation space. Then they should work together po to create a plan that is customize a unique needs po of the school po or organization po. Next, for the necessary resources po, include the safety guidelines. Yung safety guidelines po is should include best practices for emergency planning and response po. And yung signages naman po is kailangan po is gumamit sila ng clearly marked ay ano to maging yung clear po yung mark ng location of this evacuation space po and provide instruction po kung paano po ma-assess po. Then next is equipment for assessing the condition of structures and safety measure should be used po to ensure the safe evacuation space and designed and constructed to with potential hazard. And the third for necessary resources is updated communication devices and emergency alert system should be used po to ensure na yung everyone po in the building is alert po in the emergencies and alam po nila kung paano gawin to. And the potential challenges, first is scheduling conflicts may arise, scheduling conflicts, resistance to participation, and then limited manpower for regular inspections. Maybe challenges po if there are not enough people available to inspect and maintain safe evacuation space. Then yung technical issues when upgrading systems, may challenge din po para sa mga new systems na na-encounter na magkakaroon po sila ng technical difficulties. And then for the results po, clearly identified marked and safe buffer zones away from risky buildings, increased awareness among the students and the local community about the importance of staying within the buffer zone during evacuations, and improve communications during emergency, reducing response time.
Next naman po is the implement regular drills with varied scenarios. And yung responsible person naman po is the school safety officer or designated drill leader. And for the necessary resources po, it's important to have safety equipments just in case there's a problem na mangyari. In other words po, these are all significant to the overall safety of the students para ma-relieve sila knowing na they are being supported with enough equipment. And meanwhile, communication systems and training materials are very important because they will serve as the instrument or the means para mas maintindihan ng mga student ang activity. It must be properly implemented para mas maging efficient and flow ng drill. And lastly naman po, the signage and the other auxiliary materials are important din para mas fully aware ang mga student when it comes sa evacuation area and the instructions. And next po is the potential challenges. When it comes po sa potential challenges, one might experience problem regarding sa disruption of normal activities in school, especially sa mga major subjects na pwedeng ma-overlap. So next is of course there will be some resistance because hindi sila fully engaged sa activity at iba ang activities na kanilang pinaprioritize. And next, pwede rin po magkaroon ng problem if ang evacuation area ay malapit sa mga tall buildings inside the school. There could be debris and other things na pwedeng malaglag. And lastly po, there will always be people na hindi tinitake seriously ang event. That's why may tendency na sila ay um, mag-ingay na lang. And next po is the results. So first, magiging fully aware ang mga students and teachers regarding sa situation in a way na mas malalaman nila ang kanilang gagawin during the drill. And if lahat ng na-execute properly at communication systems ay effective, magiging maganda ang flow na activity at there might be no problems na ma-encounter. And last po, mas coordinated ang mga student and enthusiastic na sila sa lahat ng mga nangyari sa drill. Next po.
So yung next po na action step is in response po dun sa pang 13th na lapse wherein the students didn't utilize items like books or any sturdy covers that could provide additional protection for their heads apart from using their hands to shield themselves. So for this po, yung action step po is to implement provision of supplies and educational campaigns. For the responsible person po, this action step would be implemented by the school safety officer with collaboration din po from the teachers tsaka sa mga school staffs. So sila po yung may important role dun sa pakikipag-coordinate ng educational campaigns, pag-distribute ng mga need na resources, and to ensure na lahat po, especially the students, is nagko-comply with the safety protocols. So for the necessary resources or yung mga needed na resources, andyan yung mga educational materials, which is yung mga presentation, pamphlets, and other instructional materials that will convey yung mga mahalagang information na need malaman para sa disaster preparedness. And then yun din yung ito yung ibibigay nila during the educational campaigns. Especially po yung pamphlets kasi maliliit lang yun, mas mababasa po ng mga students. Next po is the audiovisual equipment needed po sa educational campaigns. Dito papasok yung projectors, screen speakers to facilitate the engaging presentation. Next po is yung evaluation tools which would be needed to assess and measure the effectiveness ng educational campaigns and also to identify any areas for improvement nung isinagawang educational campaigns or discussions ng mga teachers and staffs. Next po is yung sa supplies. Since nakita po dun sa video na kamay lang po yung gamit nila pang cover ng ulo, need ng sturdy covers such as books for protection during earthquake drills and especially real scenario na earthquakes. Kasi yung supplies na yun yung gagamitin nila kapag nagkaroon na ng disaster. And then, kailangan din po ng storage space within the room, which should be the storage facility within the school premises para po ma-house yung mga supplies and ma-ensure na accessible sa lahat po ng kids yung gagamitin nilang covers. For the potential challenges, first nandyan yung skepticism since some may doubt the effectiveness ng mga educational campaigns and the utility ng mga ibinigay na supplies. Next naman po is yung sa resource constraints, which could hinder the procurement of the needed resources since pwedeng magkaroon ng limited budget tsaka logical constraints na pwedeng mahinder yung pagpo-procure ng mga resources na gagamitin. And then next is yung accessibility. Accessibility of the supplies to all the students. So dito papasok yung pag-ensure na equitable yung access ng supplies na gagamitin or ng resources na gagamitin sa lahat ng estudyante, especially if nasa far-flung areas yung school and then the non-compliance, pwedeng magkaroon ng non-compliance yung mga students and even the staffs. Ito yung resistance nila in participating dun sa gagawing educational campaign or yung sa mga drill na gagawin. Or dito yung papasok yung pwedeng hindi sila mag-adhere dun sa mga safety measures. So sa results po, if this action step was successful, pwede pong mag-increase to ng awareness about the importance of using sturdy covers during earthquake drills, which would lead to improved safety practices in real-life scenarios kapag meron na po talagang earthquake or fire or even different kinds of disaster. And next, magkakaroon po ng increased empowerment yung mga students and also the staffs with the knowledge that they have attained during the campaigns, which would lead to a culture of preparedness within the school community. And then, ayun, enhanced preparedness since meron ng mga supplies such as book and sturdy covers, which would also bolster the school's capacity na makapag-respond effectively kapag merong emergency, thereby mamimitigate yung risk ng injury or harm. And then in conclusion, so by implementing educational campaigns and providing the necessary supplies na needed, yung school na to, magkakaroon siya ng disaster preparedness and resilience, and also with the collaboration and proactive measures, pwede po tayo makapag-cultivate ng safer learning environment wherein yung students and staff is empowered para makapag-respond effectively dun sa mangyayaring mga disaster emergencies. Next slide po.
So, yung cup po dito, yung faculty po sa video, di niya chinek yung durability ng mga buildings bago niya pabalikin yung mga estudyante. And our action plan for that is to conduct an assessment first before sending back the student to make sure that it is safe and no risk. Actually, there is a post-assessment to do, but it was not shown in the video. So, who are the responsible person po? The school safety officer. Yung role po nito is to guide and assure the student and other personnel to stay calm. Also, he or she will be part of that assessment with the civil or instructional engineering, which will know how that building built. Um, the building and rooms assessment tool will be in necessary resources po kasi it will serve as a guide in conducting the assessment to know what needed to be checked first. Then the potential challenges is more on the personnel na magko-conduct ng assessment. First, that person might be at risk because he will enter the infrastructure. Then skipping any part of the assessment may lead to further risk. Then last is when the personnel that will conduct an assessment is lack of knowledge in doing it, then the assessment will be worthless. So ang result po nito will be the personnel will be trained on how to conduct the proper assessment so they can do it before sending everyone back to their room and everyone will be safe. Next up po is somehow connected sa kasasabi ko lang po kanina. Kanina po is about sa walang assessment of the building. Ito naman po, there is no post-earthquake drill assessment of any casualties and walang pinakitang medical team or any equipment necessary for the drill. So we've come up with the action plan na mobilize post-earthquake personnel team that will also conduct the post-earthquake drill assessment. School Disaster Response Coordinator will be the responsible person for mobilizing the team, and the necessary equipment that needed is the trained personnel, any communication devices, and also the transportation. The potential challenges is limited access to the affected areas because of the damage in the infrastructure and breakdown in communication. So it might lead to problem in relaying information. So the result will be magkakaroon na ng personal team na ide-deploy para i-assess yung damage and maiiwasan yung possible casualty sa infrastructures and human resources.
Ayan. uh, First is this lapse would involve the lacking medical team present and the equipments on the video. So first is the conduction or yung pag-conduct ng initial assessment of human casualties. We have the responsible person in here is the school nurse. Ano po ba yung necessary resources needed? We have medical supplies, first aid kits, and triage protocols because it is important for these supplies to be allocated during emergencies or disaster scenarios. So ano po yung potential challenges niya? We have limited medical supplies because not all institutions are geared with proper supplies for disasters. And we have overwhelmed medical facilities and lack of coordination among rescue teams because coordination in times of disasters or situations or unprecedented situations are really hard. Now, the result of this action plan would be the initial casualty assessment would be conducted. And what would that result to? It would result in immediate action taken to injured individuals, prolonging life and alleviating pain. Now, it is crucial for several reasons and it plays significant role in the overall disaster emergency action plan. It helps prioritize yung I have said earlier the allocation of limited resources because not all institutions are geared with proper resources for emergencies. We also have to identify critical medical needs, just such as the available medical interventions that can be done to different kinds of patients. And also, we have to provide you initial information for communication and coordination among response teams, not only from the school nurse, but also from the disaster response coordinator. And next is we have to assess the medical equipment readiness. Who is the responsible person for this? We have the school facility manager or yung simple term na yung central supply room or yung supply section ng ating institution. Ano po ba yung necessary resources for dito? We have inventory of medical equipment and maintenance protocols of those equipments which is conducted through checklist. And we have potential challenges which are the damage to medical equipments kapag ginagamit siya during disaster. There are big percentage na madadamage talaga. For example, we have stretchers or net braces, and we have financial constraints. Not all institution, I have said earlier, na geared towards this disaster planning. Price gauging of medical equipments because processes are for the procurement of these medical equipments and medical supplies. Now, what is the result or what are the results of this action step? We have the medical equipment readiness evaluated. Resources are not scarce during emergencies because nakapagplano na and nakapag-procure na po ng ating medical supplies, we would not be uh, allocating scarcely during disasters. We have proper utilization of equipment and delegation of those resources. Now, it is crucial po for ensuring this action step uh, in effective response and providing appropriate care for those na affected po ng ating disaster or during sa ating earthquake drill. Now, we have to, in assessing po also the medical equipment readiness, it helps to determine the capacity of our facilities to provide treatment, knowing na yung availability and functionality of our essential equipments such as yung first aid supplies would be managed well variously depending sa medical conditions and emergencies na present doon sa patient natin. And we have also the understanding that the status of our medical equipments enables yung sa efficient allocation po ng ating resources during emergencies and identifying shortages through our checklist na may equipment failures po tayo or scarce na po yung ating uh, medical supplies and medical equipments. So that would conclude our report on the action plan based on the lapses saw or seen on the video. That would be all. Thank you po.
Okay, very good. Ang dami niyong na-discover, ang dami niyong nakuhang lapses na dapat meron doon sa drill na yon. There's one thing na may napansin ako kanina na bago, that is the ground rotation. Okay? This ground rotation should be further analyzed and studied. That is a good idea naman na meron ganon. I hope na some schools are doing this. Pero ang nangyayari ngayon yung mga ground rotation na yan ay because of the scarcity of room or congestion of room kasi sa sobrang dami, lalo na sa mga public schools. But kung sinasabi nating rotation na yan, when it comes na ready na sila sa disaster at hindi congested ang area, parang hindi kasama sa objective nila yan. We'll see kasi maybe some schools are considering mga safety ng mga bata when it comes to disaster. Kumbaga iniisip na nila yung baka may sakaling sakuna, ito ang dapat natin pagsanayan sa mga bata, yung mga ganun. But that is a good idea that you are suggesting yung ground rotation. Pero paano na lang yan kung lahat ay 7 o'clock ang pasok? So kung may ground rotation ng break time, ang mangyayari dyan, yung iba, mas mahaba ang oras bago mag-break time. Pero kung ang ground rotation ay ito yung sa mga subjects, like for example, particularly sa elementary at high school. Kasi sa college naman, anytime kasi ano naman tayo tsaka kaya na natin mga sarili natin. So kung sa mga high school, anong oras sila mag-start? So kung mag-start sila ng 8 o'clock ng klase nila, uuwi din sila ng 7 o'clock. Yung mga ganon. Diba? Kasi, ay ganun ba? Kasi parang ilang oras sila sa klase? 6 hours. So kung may mag-start ng 9 o'clock, i-move din yan plus 6 hours, di ba? So, ganun ang mangyayari. So, that is a good idea. But I don't think that meron nang nag-i-implement ganyan dito sa atin sa Pilipinas. Okay? So very good. Na paki-submit na lang sa portal. Pakilagay lahat ng mga nag-report kada slide, pakilagay ang pangalan and then yung mga contributors din kung sino may hindi man nag-report or nag-present pero may contribution, pakilagay ang kung ano ang kinontribute. Okay? Ayun. So, group, kaya pa ba si group Group 2, kaya ba now? Group 2, kaya now? Ay, Group 1, thank you very much. That is a very comprehensive kind of Ibig sabihin, pwedeng-pwede na kayo ha. Kayang-kaya nyo na. Kasi nga, na kayo. Ang bilis nyo mag-grasp yung topic at na-identify nyo yung mga gaps. Okay? That is very good. Okay? So, next, sige na Group 2, mag-start ka na. Thank you, Group 1. Yes, Alexandra.
Ask ko lang po if lahat po ng members magsasubmit mo ng PPT at saka ng narrative.
Hindi.
Or isa lang po?
Isa lang kayo. Isa lang. Nandun na dito sa portal natin. Dito na lang isubmit.
Okay po. Thank you po.
Thanks. Sige na, Group 2.
Good morning po. So, good morning everyone. We are the Group 2 and today we're going to discuss to you about the fire drill that conducted of CMH nung February 21. So, let me give you some brief about the fire drill. So, here in the Philippines, we have a fire month in the Philippines that is referred to the dry seasons from February to May. Peak yung risk niya to March and to May. So yung March dito sa Philippines is designated siya as Fire Prevention Month that emphasize increased awareness and preparedness due to the elevated fire risk dito sa Philippines nung March to May. Kaya makikita natin sa social media, balita, yung pagpapaalala nila kung anong dapat gawin during this Fire Prevention Month. So, recent devastating disaster in the country have prompted concerns about infrastructure's resilience and emergency response kung ano yung epektibo. So, our report is aims to provide an overview about sa conducted na video dun sa CMH nung February 1, 28 and i-explore natin yung gaps and lapses nito, yung action plans natin and yung response mechanism and how the recovery effort. So, ang goal namin is to analyze all the video provided and kung paano pa may improve ito. Miss Jera po will show the video.
For the key roles po, next slide. The first one is the casualty carriers. They are the one who are responsible for safely evacuating and carrying any injured individuals to a safe location for further medical assistance. Next. For the search and rescue team, they are the one who are responsible for checking the premises to ensure that there is no individuals that are left behind and assisting them in evacuating if necessary. Next po. For the first aid providers, they are the one who are responsible for administering first aid to any injured individuals on sites and before they are transported to a hospital. Next po.
So for the firefighters or extinguisher team, they are the one who are responsible for handling firefighting equipment and extinguishing any fire present in the building. Next slide. Emergency callers, they are the one who responsible for promptly contacting emergency services such as the ambulance and firefighters to provide medical assistance to those in need and to put out bigger fires. Next slide po. For the fire safety personnel, they are the one who responsible for overseeing and guiding the entire fire drill, ensuring that is conducted safely and effectively.
So for the other roles, next slide po. So the evacuation marshals, they are the authorized individuals who are responsible for guiding and directing the fellow community members to the designated area outside the site of the incident or yung sa lugar na kung saan naganap yung mismong emergency. Then these marshal are also tasked to ensure the safety and orderliness of the evacuation para maiwasan yung pagpapanik at yung mas mapalala yung situation. Next slide po. So yung next slide po is re-entry prevention team. Um, so these individuals are the one who are responsible for preventing anyone from re-entering the building or the site kung saan nangyari yung incident or yung emergency itself. So once na nakapag-evacuate na sila and na-ensure na yung lahat ng mga tao or individuals na nasa loob ay nakalabas na, then yung safety nakalabas na sa safe na evacuation area, then yung re-entry team, prevention team is sila yung magbabawal na makapasok ulit yung mga individual para mas malesen yung casualty and papayagan lang makapasok until further notice or instruction. Next slide po.
Ayan, so moving on to the gaps and lapses that have been in the business. So there were at least 10 gaps that have been noticed. So first po is yung failure to carry protective equipment. So here in the video, we noticed that the rescuers were not carrying any protective equipments. So the rescuers are entering a fire scene without any protective gears or any wet cloths. So they are risking both of their safety and the safety of the evacuees. So in terms sa preparedness, it increases the risk of injury like smoke inhalation that can potentially lead to more severe consequences. So for the action, so we can provide education and training for the rescuers about the importance of carrying protective equipment for their safety and mag-adhere sila sa mga safety protocols during emergency responses. So ini-emphasize nun yung mga consequences and yung mga potential risk na pwedeng mangyari sa pagpasok nila dun sa mga hazardous area na wala silang proper gear. And then also we can provision about their equipment. So we need to ensure that the rescuers have access to adequate PPEs such as mask, helmets, gloves, yan, mga wet clothes before entering to a hazardous environment. So they need to instill in their mind that they have to regularly inspect and maintain this equipment to guarantee its effectiveness when needed. And then next slide po. Then napansin din namin na yung mga evacuees is papasok-pasok para sa mga personal belongings nila sa loob ng building or ng campus. So hindi naman natin talaga maiiwasan yung concern about dun sa mga importanteng bagay, but in times of emergency, this re-entering sa hazardous area can increase risk, and this behavior can significantly threat the safety of individuals. At kino-complicate din niya yung mga rescue efforts ng mga rescue team. So, mas napupunta sa kanila yung attention, of course, kesa dun mismo sa priority kung saan maliligtas and mapaprioritize yung safety nila. So, what can we do? We can educate or we can communicate with these people to give them awareness. So, we can educate the evacuees about the dangers of re-entering the affected area for their personal belongings. So, we need to emphasize the importance of prioritizing personal safety rather than the belongings following yung pagsunod nila sa mga evacuation instruction provided by the trained personnel. And then we can establish or um, we can have an established designated areas for retrieval procedures ng mga gamit na nakita or nakuha. So this can assist or this can designate specific or we can designate specific personal teams to assist evacuees in safely retrieving their essential items once it is safe to re-enter to the hazardous area. So next po.
So for the next one is ambulance arrival. For the next one is ambulance arrival delays. So on the 3 minute and 37 second mark of the video po, we could see the ambulance arrive after the fire. So the solution for this, since hindi po natin may iwasan na hindi magkaroon ng delay yung pag-arrive ng emergency vehicle, we must coordinate and establish communication po to the people of the area. We should also train din po yung mga staffs and students ng mga basic first aid para pumagapan natin yung mga nasaktan habang inaantay po natin yung ambulance. For the next one is the lack of protective gear for respiratory conditions. On 1 minute and 8 second mark of the video po, we could see that the rescuer has a lack of protective gear for the patient as well as themselves. They also lack of equipment for those who has respiratory condition. So the solution for this gap is we must encourage to both proper gear for the protection of the rescuer as well as the patient, and equipment such as oxygen cylinder for those who has a respiratory conditions. Next po.
Anyari?
So unique po ba? Sorry. For the failure to assess remaining individuals naman po, ito po yung napansin namin, yung mga nag-a-assess po, which is yung mga search and rescue team, nasa isang lugar lang po sila. And once na may pumasok na do'n sa room, may papasok ulit kahit na-check na nung isa. Well, baka naman thorough sila kaso, ang ginagawa lang nila naglalabas-pasok lang din sila do'n sa room. So, ang solution po namin dito is to develop and implement a systematic approach, which is puwede nilang gawin yung grid searching, yung mag-a-assign sila ng tao sa mga bawat, lugar to make sure na, simultaneously nache-check kung sino pa yung mga natitirang tao do'n. Then, yung sunod naman po is to train the rescuers na, kung ano ba yung mga, approach na puwede nilang gawin in case na hindi puwede yung mga, na na tina-try nilang, assessment na gawin. So, next slide po. So, next is the lack of floor map and evacuation routes or routes. Kung mapapansin po dun sa video, wala po talaga tayo nakitang, any, or na makikita na mga, floor maps na nakapaskil sa dingding, sa likod ng pinto or what. So, dito ang solution nga po namin is to install clearly visible floor maps. Dun nga po sila nakikita sa may tabi ng, bulletin board, sa likod ng, pintuan ng classroom, sa bawat sulok na puwedeng lagyan. And, to conduct regular drills and if ever man na, hindi sila ma-familiarize agad dun sa floor map nila, alam nila yung, pupuntahan nila and, gagawin nila kasi nakapag-conduct sila ng regular drills in case na magkaroon ng totoong sunog. So, if may floor maps naman sila, dapat yung floor maps ay laging updated kasi mamaya baka nag-renovation sila pero yung floor maps nila, is yung luma pa rin nila. So, wala ding, kuwenta yung floor maps na yun.
Hello. So, next po natin is disorganization in assisting. Kasi kung makita po natin kanina sa video, meron naman po silang mga marshals and assistants. Lalo na yung mga naghahanap sa mga rooms kung may naiwan pa bang tao. Tsaka meron din yung nagbubuhat ng nahimatay kunwari. Role-playing lang na if panic attacks will happen during a disaster. At meron din yung taong nag-aapula mismo ng apoy. Pero, even with all of these people, bakit napakagulo pa din ng kanilang fire drill? Meron pa nga kanina sa video at na-explain na rin kanina sa number 2 ni Miss Faye na during the drill, may teacher doon or secretary na lumabas siya ng building, nag-re-entry, tapos lumabas ulit. O, di ba napakagaling? Wala ba silang inassign na any marshal or assistant doon sa mga pipigil ng re-entry sa building? One of the most simple yet so important person during a disaster, pero wala silang inassign doon. Just imagine, sobrang disorganized na nila sa isang fire drill, paano pa kaya sa isang turing na fire disaster or emergency? Di po natin alam kung saan nagkaroon ng problema sa delegation of tasks po ba, coordination, o sadyang unprepared lang po talaga sila sa kanilang fire drill. And that is why we have solutions here na makakatulong po para mawalan ka nilang pagiging disorganized. First here is implementing training programs. Well, syempre, to raise the overall knowledge and awareness, preparedness of the people na gagawa ng fire drill or just in case magkaroon naman talaga ng fire disaster. This program can also help in proper delegation of tasks sa lahat na magiging assistants or marshals. Next po natin is installing emergency communication systems para mas kumanda pa po or mas maging smooth pa yung evacuation process ng buong school. Next slide, please. Next po natin, pinaka-importante din na gaps and lapses dito sa video na to, is the building's single exit flow. Kasi kung makikita nyo pa kanina sa video, halos lahat ng kanilang building, halos isa lang yung kanilang exit o paglalabasan. And this is very crucial during a disaster. Kasi alam naman natin na kahit ilang drills pagawin natin dyan, there will be a moment na may tao magpapanik. At pag may tao magpapanik, syempre, may magpapanik pa na sunod. At pag nagsunod-sunod yan, magkatakbuhan lahat. Magsisiksikan, at di makakalabas lahat ng maayos. And that is why we have here a solution of comprehensive assessment of the building to check and improve evacuation routes. In this way po, ma-check po natin kung meron pa bang any possible evacuation routes para hindi lahat na mag-evacuate ay magsisiksikan sa isang exit.
So next naman is lack of orientation for evacuation procedures. So nakita naman sa video na parang hindi nila alam kung ano yung mga next nilang gagawin. So important na maging knowledgeable yung mga tao in case of emergency, lalo na yung mga dapat nilang gawin sa mismong scenario. So yung solution namin dito is develop comprehensive educational materials and conduct regular training session for all occupants. So dapat i-prioritize nila yung 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 pagtuturo sa mga estudyante ng tamang way and yung mga dapat talagang gawin in case of emergency. Next is absence of headcount practices. So yung solution naman dito is establish clear protocols for conducting headcounts and designate responsible individuals to oversee headcount procedures. So mas maganda if mag-assign ng mag-headcount dun sa mismong disaster. And also, maganda rin na magkaroon ng designated assembly areas kung saan magagather yung mga evacuees after ng disaster.
For the emergency action plan naman po, first is the mitigation. So, ano nga ba yung mitigation? As said nung discussion, ito yung minimize ng risk and yung further palalapan nung mangyayari. In this case is the fire nga po. So, what are these nga po? First is to conduct a seminar on what could be categorized as fire hazard. So, ang examples po ng fire hazard ay ng categories ng fire hazard ay yung ignition source, combustible materials, chemical hazards, heat source. So, as always mentioned kanina doon, sa mga solutions namin is to conduct ng seminar, trainings, and to always educate yung tao dun sa school. Since if makapag-training sila tungkol sa basic life saving, hindi na nila kailangan yung mas maagapan nila yung mga may kailangan ng medical needs, and kahit maliit man yung ambulansya, mabigyan na sila agad ng paunang lunas. Then, sunod naman is to ensure that the building has working fire alarms, fire extinguisher, and fire sprinklers. Kasi, ano bang gagawin natin kung may fire alarm, may fire extinguisher, and fire sprinklers kung hindi naman siya nagana? Hindi wala ding sense. So, babalik lang din tayo dun sa mag-conduct lagi ng drills. Kasi, dun din natin malalaman kung working pa ba yung fire alarm sa atin, fire extinguisher, and fire sprinklers. Then next is ensure that there are plenty of exit that could be access to ways. Nabanggit din kayo sa solutions to, pero i-emphasize ko lang na katulad ng ozone na disaster, na fire disaster, dahil nga one way lang exit nila, which is papasok, natrap silang lahat, and sadly isa lang yung nakaligtas dun sa sunog na yun. So, mahalaga talaga na ang access ng doors ay two ways, which is pabukas and palabas. Then, next is to provide a clear floor plan wherein the fire alarm, fire extinguisher, and fire exit are located. So, dapat may naka-indicate sa floor plans kung nasaan, clearly nasaan ang fire exits, kasi may possibility na yung fire exit na alam nila is yun yung naapektuhan ng sunog. So, mas maganda na nakita lahat ng fire exits and well labeled, lalo na yung fire alarms and fire extinguisher para alam na din nila kung saan nila kukunin or pupuntahan yung mga gamit na yun. Then lastly is ensure that everyone in the building is familiar with stop, drop, and roll technique. Kasi baka mamaya may nakakatch ng fire sa isa sa kanila, then ang ginawa nila is binuhusan ng tubig, which is pwede pang mag-cause ng pagkalat nung apoy pa and paglala nung burns nung victim. And kaya dapat mas ay alam nila yung stop, drop, and roll technique. So next slide po. Next slide po. Okay. So, ito po yung mga pictures ng seminar. Then, ito po yung stop, drop, and roll, which is pwede na lang i-display sa classroom, sa hallways, para laging naalala ng mga nakakita kung ano nga ba yung, ay kung paano nga ba yung stop, drop, and roll. Next slide po. Then, ito po yung example po ng fire safety plan in a unit. So, nakita kung nasaan ka, nasaan yung mga exit and other components pa po. Kung nasaan yung fire extinguisher, yung medical kits, and other. Next slide po.
Okay, so next naman po is yung preparedness. So sa disaster management cycle po, pangalawa yung preparedness. So ano-ano nga ba yung mga nakalagay sa preparedness? So ito yung actions that may enhance the readiness of individuals. So ayun nga, by its word itself, prepared, so magiging mas effective yung response ng tao dun sa disasters, in this case, sa sunog. So first is conduct a seminar on educating the students on emergency hotlines, giving first aid, proper usage of fire alarm, fire extinguisher, and what to do. Okay, hanggang dun muna. So, bakit nga ba tayo magpapa-seminar? So, para alam natin yung mga important information and mga procedures na need i-follow pag may sunog. So, ayun. So, first dito is yung prioritizing one's safety instead of recovering of personal belongings since ang gamit nga may kapalit, ang buhay wala. Then, putting cloth preferably wet around the mouth to prevent inhalation of smoke. Kasi pag basa daw yung cloth, mas nakaka-filter siya ng poisonous gases or yung toxins from the smoke. Then, staying close to the ground to avoid inhaling the smoke kasi nga, ang heat and smoke ay umaangat so mas malinis and malamig yung air na nasa ilalim. So, it increases your chance of evacuating the building. Then, exiting the building in a single line and in a calm manner. So, kahit hindi siya single line, if malaki yung space, as long as organized, para mas efficient yung pag-exit and hindi siya magkakos ng panic. So, it also reduces the risk of accidents or injuries. Next slide po. Then next is proceeding to an open space wherein they are at least 100 meters far from the building and away from the fireman's way. So 100 meters away, at least 100 meters away para hindi sila mahulugan ng mga falling debris and hindi sila ma-expose sa iba pang hazards. Then performing a head count of students present in the building and relaying it to the authorities para ma-make sure natin na kompleto lahat, nakapag-evacuate lahat, and para ma-identify din kung sino yung mga nawawala and mabalikan ng fire authorities at i-rescue. Then, sa next naman po is yung conduct fire drills yearly to serve as refresher para ma-familiarize yung mga tao sa procedures and yung evacuation routes. And para ma-identify din yung gaps dun sa ginagawang fire drill for improvement and ma-address tapos parang mababago siya dun sa disaster plan. Then practice race, rescue alarm, confine, extinguish, or evacuate if one discovers a fire para maka-respond sila effectively and mas maayos yung decision making which means higher chances of saving lots of lives. Then instruct on how to use a fire extinguisher using the pass method to effectively put out fire and para ma-stop agad yung fire from spreading. So, dapat pag maliit pa lang, maalis na siya. Pa-next po ng slide. Okay, so ito po yung pass. So yung P is for pull. Since may pin yung mga fire extinguisher para hindi mo ma-accidentally ma-press yung handle, yun yung una mong ipupull. Then, aim dun sa base ng fire para ma-cut off agad yung fuel supply ng fire. Kasi kung dun tayo mag-aim sa fire mismo, walang mangyayari. Then, squeeze the lever slowly. Tapos, ito po, ganito po yung hawak. Ay, hindi nakita. Basta dun sa number 3 dito sa, sa GIF. Dapat yung one hand is nasa extinguisher itself, tas yung one hand nasa handle para mas controlled yung pag-sweep, which is the last. Sweep from side to side para ma-cover yung base ng fire ng extinguishing agent kasi 'di ba meron yan yung dry ice or yung gel para hindi na ma-reignite yung fire. Next po.
So for the response, initiate race if one discovers a fire. So race is a fire response method involving rescue, alarm, confine, extinguish, or evacuate. So first is rescue. Anyone in danger if it does not compromise your own safety. And for alarm, activate for alarm to warn others if may mga ibang tao pa po na nandun sa building or sa bahay po. Next is attempt to confine the fire by closing exit points such as doors and windows to trap the fire or slow down its spread. Next is extinguish the fire by using extinguisher. Evacuate when fire alarm sounds. Avoid elevators and um, use back. Next wala. Next na. Um, Use the back of the hand of your hand in the event of fire. Test door handles and look for smoke around. Using the back of your hand to test door handles during a fire is safer because it's more sensitive to heat, reducing the risk of burns. Looking for smoke around the edges help assess if it's safe to open the door or if there's fire on the other side, aiding in making informed decisions during emergencies. Next pa. Um, mm, check door handles for heat before opening. If the door is not hot or warm, slowly exit toward the nearest fire exit if the hallway is smoke free. Use fire extinguisher for small fires. Conduct head counts to ensure everyone evacuated. So make sure po na magbibilang baka may iba pa pong naiwan. So, if pag may mag-notify po sa emergency services if may naiwan po sa sa building or bahay po, house, need is advise against re-entering until instructed to do so. Assess surroundings for dangers and provide first aid treatment and triage to prioritize the care. Next na po.
For the last part po of our emergency action plan, we have here the recovery. Ito po yung phase na after agad po siya ng response phase kung saan nandito po ginagawa yung different actions and measures para mabalik o maayos po natin yung state of normalcy ng isang lugar. Lalo na pag in a state of panic pa din nga yung mga tao na nandito. And the fastest way po para kumalma lahat ng tao, syempre ay ma-sure na sila ay safe sa kanilang kinatatayuan. And we have here these three, assist evacuees in locating temporary shelter, medical facilities or other essential services. Next is advising evacuees to stay in the open field area until cleared by emergency responders. And last is avoid re-entering into damaged facilities until inspected. And these three po are very important in keeping the evacuees safe and far from harm. Next slide, please. At ayun po, after po natin ma-make sure na safe na ang lugar, syempre we have to double check ulit kung safe na nga ba talaga ang lahat. In here, dapat yung mga tao may injuries ay nakatanggap na ng first aid from our qualified personnel. Dapat din po yung mga nakapag-communicate na ng maayos yung higher ups natin para mapag-usapan po nila yung current status or situation ng lahat. After making sure na everyone is safe at naapula na rin yung apoy, we have to document any injuries and hazards para po yung data po na nakalap natin is important in improving the evacuation plan of the school para po magkaroon po tayo ng lesser injuries sa future at para ma-prevent rin yung disaster from happening in the first place. And lastly, we have to collaborate with local authorities and community organizations to have different resources po in helping the community.
Recovery.
Okay. So, ayan na ang last. Very good. The same thing. Wait lang ha. Ano ko lang itong estudyante. Ano ito?
Hello, everyone.
Wait lang ka. Okay. Okay, so again, another comprehensive kind of presentation. Uy, namangha naman ako sa inyo. Ang dami niyong naitagdag na last time nakita ko uunti lang last time sa mga ibang batch. Ngayon, ang daming naitagdag. Ibig sabihin, mas marami kayong alam. Okay, now there's one thing that I have considered, kumbaga parang natin, doon sa building na yun, okay? Suggestion nyo is dapat marami silang exit route, okay? Evacuation route, and that is a good thing. So, yung sa kanila kasi, parang one way lang talaga, one way lang ang tawag nito, papunta, palabas, tapos papunta, and that will cause chaos when it comes to actual disaster talaga. And that is a good suggestion na sana meron silang ibang exit route. Okay? Now, meron tayong sinabi na meron number 9 na lack of evaluation practices. So, ang pinaka-conclusion natin doon is that kasi itong mga ito, nagdi-drill sila. Kasi ito drill lang to. So, ibig sabihin, yung drill nila is hindi effective. Okay? Hindi siya effective. And then, a good thing there also, di ba sa topic natin, parang wala akong diniscuss about what you call stop, drop, and roll. And this can only be applicable sa mga sobrang malaki na ang sunog. Okay? So kapag sobra ng malaking sunog, ayan, mag-stop, drop, and roll tayo. But very good kasi na-include nyo dito. Okay? So thank you very much for the comprehensive presentation of the two groups. Ang may napansin ko lang, mayroong sperm na mayroong sperm tumatakbo. Parang sperm siya. Loko talaga. Ano yun? Paano? Yung, ano ba tawag nun? Yung point? Cursor? Cursor point ba yun? Okay, so, for that, paki-submit na lang ilagay ang mga pangalan kung sino nag-present doon mismo sa slide nyo ha. Kung sino yung nag-present, ilagay ang pangalan doon. And again, yung contributors. Meron ng portal kung saan nyo isa-submit. Okay? So, thank you for that. You can go now. Bye!
Thank you po, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you po.
Bye sa inyo.